What if I told you that everything you've been doing to change your life, every affirmation, every visualization, every desperate attempt to shift your reality has been useless? Not because manifestation doesn't work, but because you've been trying to change the mirror instead of changing yourself. You think you're stuck. You think no matter what you do, reality isn't shifting. But that's the trap, the biggest illusion of all. The world is not something happening to you. It is something happening from you. And until you see this, until you feel this, nothing will change. But once you do, you'll never see reality the same way again. Look around you. Every single thing you see, your relationships, your bank account, your circumstances, isn't separate from you. It is you. Your external world is nothing more than a reflection of what you accept as true within. It's like standing in front of a mirror. The reflection you see is not random. It is not something separate from you that has an independent existence. It is simply an exact representation of what is in front of it. If you frown, the reflection frowns. If you smile, the reflection smiles. You don't try to change the reflection by manipulating the mirror. You change yourself, and the reflection follows. The same principle applies to your life. If you feel ignored, unseen, or unimportant, it's not because the world is rejecting you. It's because, deep inside, you assume that's just how life is. And so, life mirrors that back. You carry an unseen but powerful assumption that you don't matter, that people overlook you, that your presence doesn't make an impact. And because this belief is so deeply ingrained, the world has no choice but to reflect it. People don't listen to you. Friends forget to invite you. Your opinions are dismissed. Not because they are consciously rejecting you, but because you unknowingly project the idea that you are someone to be ignored. The world simply follows your lead. If money keeps slipping through your fingers, if opportunities seem out of reach, it's not because life is unfair. It's because, at your core, you are still the version of you who expects scarcity. You might say you want abundance, that you wish to be wealthy, that you dream of financial freedom, but if, beneath those words, you hold a belief that money is hard to get, that success is for others but not for you, then that belief will shape your experience. No matter how many strategies you try, no matter how hard you work, something will always seem to block you. Unexpected expenses arise. The raise you were expecting doesn't come. The clients don't sign up. And because you are living from the identity of someone who struggles with money, your reality bends to match that identity. You think the world is showing you reality, but it's only showing you yourself. This is why so many people feel stuck. They believe they need to change the outside world to feel better on the inside. They think that if they just found the right person, they wouldn't feel lonely. If they just made more money, they wouldn't feel anxious. If they just got recognition, they would finally feel important. But they have it backward. It's not the external world that must shift first, it's the internal world. And the more you fight against it, the more you try to fix things externally, the more stuck you feel. Because you're arguing with a reflection. Let's analyze the same example again to understand it in depth. When you are standing in front of a mirror, trying to make your reflection smile while keeping your own face neutral, no matter how much you plead, force, or demand, the reflection won't change. It can't. It has no independent power. It only responds to you. The harder you push against your circumstances, the more resistance you create, because you are trying to alter the reflection without changing yourself. But the moment you shift inside, the moment you change your assumptions, your beliefs, and your identity, the reflection must change. It has no choice. This is not wishful thinking. It is not a vague, abstract idea. It is the nature of reality. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, frowning. Now, try to make your reflection smile. You push the glass, you plead with it, you beg it to change. But nothing happens. The reflection stays exactly the same. Not because the mirror is stubborn, not because it hates you, but because you are still frowning. You see, the mirror has no independent power. It doesn't decide what to reflect. It doesn't analyze, judge, or choose. It simply responds. And it does so with absolute accuracy. It cannot lie to you. It cannot bend reality in your favor. It has one job, to reflect back exactly what stands before it. This is what happens when you chase love, chase money, chase external validation, thinking that if you just get those things, life will finally change. You think that if someone finally loves you, you'll feel worthy. If you finally have money, you'll feel secure. If people finally respect you, you'll feel important. So, you chase these things. You work harder. You try to impress others. You constantly seek approval. You put in endless effort to control the world outside you, believing that if you can just fix your circumstances, your feelings will change. But it doesn't work like that, because the world is not responding to what you want. It is responding to who you are being. If you are being someone who feels unworthy, who deep down believes they are unlovable, then even if love appears in your life, you won't feel secure in it. You'll question it. You'll sabotage it. You'll push it away, convinced that it must be temporary, that it can't really be meant for you. If you are being someone who believes money is scarce, that success is difficult, that you must struggle to survive, then even if money flows to you, you will find a way to lose it. Unexpected expenses will appear. You'll make poor financial choices. You'll stay in a scarcity mindset, no matter how much you earn. And if you are being someone who constantly seeks external validation, who feels small unless others approve of them, then even when people praise you, it won't feel enough. You'll need more. You'll always feel like you have to prove yourself, because no amount of recognition can fill the void created by self-doubt. Change yourself, and the reflection must follow. If you want love, start being someone who deeply loves and values themselves. If you want wealth, start being someone who sees themselves as abundant, who believes opportunities flow easily. If you want respect, start being someone who respects themselves, who carries themselves with confidence, who doesn't need the world to validate their worth. And as you do this, the mirror shifts. Not because you forced it, not because you begged for change, but because you changed first. And once you do, the reflection has no choice but to align. Right now, without realizing it, you are assuming things about life. You assume certain people don't like you. You assume money is hard to get. You assume love always leaves. And because you assume it, you see it. You walk into a room, and your mind immediately searches for proof. If someone doesn't greet you enthusiastically, you take it as confirmation that they don't like you. If a conversation feels awkward, you assume it's because you're not interesting enough. You find the smallest signs, the tiniest details, and piece them together to support your belief, even when that belief is hurting you. And because you see it, you believe it even more. Your mind tells you, see, I was right. It doesn't question whether your assumption was flawed to begin with. It doesn't ask whether that person was just having a bad day or if they were distracted. It simply gathers evidence, reinforcing what you already expect. And with every new experience that matches your assumptions, the belief deepens. It becomes your reality. And the cycle continues. The same thing happens with money. If you assume money is hard to get, you will notice every struggle, every bill, every rejection. Even when opportunities arise, you'll overlook them or dismiss them as too risky. You might even push them away, unconsciously sabotaging yourself because your mind clings to what it knows, scarcity. If you assume love always leaves, you will enter relationships with quiet fear. You'll expect abandonment. And because you expect it, you'll act in ways that bring it about. Maybe you become overly anxious, always seeking reassurance. Maybe you close yourself off, afraid of getting hurt. Either way, you unknowingly create the very outcome you fear. You don't realize that nothing is happening to you. You are happening to reality. It's not the world deciding these things for you. It's not fate. It's not bad luck. It's you, your assumptions, your self-concept, your internal state, shaping everything around you. Reality is simply responding. And the only way to break free is to stop reacting to the mirror and start changing what it's reflecting. If you keep looking at the world and letting it dictate how you feel, you will stay trapped in the same patterns forever. If you keep waiting for external proof before changing internally, you will never change at all. But the moment you shift your assumptions, the reflection shifts too. Instead of assuming people don't like you, assume they do. Watch how conversations feel different, how interactions flow more easily, how people start treating you with warmth, because your energy is different. Instead of assuming money is hard to get, assume it flows to you. Notice how you start seeing opportunities you never saw before. Notice how you start making choices from abundance instead of fear. Instead of assuming love always leaves, assume love stays. Assume you are worthy of deep, lasting connection. Watch how your relationships transform. The mirror isn't fighting you. It's simply waiting for you to change. You ever notice how the same experiences seem to follow you? Different people, different places, but the same story. That's not coincidence. That's you. You enter new relationships, hoping things will be different, but somehow, they always seem to end the same way. The names change. The faces change. But the pain remains familiar. You try to make new friends, start fresh, but deep down, you still carry the same insecurity. And somehow, those insecurities shape the way people treat you. If you feel abandoned, that feeling will manifest as people who leave. It won't matter how kind, loyal, or committed you are. If deep down, you believe that people always walk away, life will give you proof. You'll attract partners who are emotionally unavailable. You'll find friends who suddenly disappear when you need them most. You won't realize it, but you'll make choices, take actions, and interpret situations in ways that push people away, all while convincing yourself that you were right to expect abandonment in the first place. If you feel unworthy, that feeling will manifest as rejection. You might not see it at first, but it's there, in the way you lower your voice when you speak, in the way you hesitate before sharing your ideas, in the way you accept less than what you truly deserve. And because you expect rejection, you'll experience it. People will overlook you. Opportunities will pass you by. Not because you aren't good enough, but because you are unconsciously aligning with a version of yourself that isn't chosen, isn't valued, isn't seen. If you feel powerless, that feeling will manifest as obstacles. It will seem like life is against you, like no matter what you do, something always gets in the way. But the truth is, the real obstacle isn't outside of you, it's inside. It's the belief that you have no control. It's the assumption that you are at the mercy of circumstances. And because you believe it, you live it. You hesitate to take risks. You expect failure before you even begin. And life mirrors that back to you over and over again. Life keeps proving you right. Because life has no choice but to match your state. Your assumptions act like commands. They tell life what to show you. Not because the universe is testing you. Not because you are cursed, but because this is how reality works. You are not separate from your world. You are the creator of it. And as long as you hold on to the same internal story, you will continue to see the same external results. Nothing out there will change until something in here does. You can try to change jobs, move cities, find new relationships, but unless your self-concept shifts, the same experiences will follow you. Because you don't escape your reality by running from it. You escape it by changing the part of you that created it in the first place. But the moment you shift within, reality must shift, too. The moment you see yourself as loved, love shows up. The moment you see yourself as worthy, life starts treating you that way. The moment you believe in your power, obstacles dissolve. Because life isn't random. It's just responding to you. Right now, there is a version of you who already has what you want. Not in the future, not one day. Right now, that version of you already exists. The only reason you're not experiencing their life is because you are still being the version of you that doesn't have it. You're still assuming the same things, feeling the same way, occupying the same state. But the moment you shift into a new state, the world must rearrange to match it. It has no choice, because the world is just a mirror. Stop trying to fix the outside. Stop chasing, begging, forcing. Instead, ask yourself, who am I being? What do you believe about yourself, about life, about love, about success? Because that is what's being reflected back to you. Not what you want, not what you wish for, but what you are. Shift your state, and reality has no choice but to follow. This is why you felt stuck. Not because life is against you. Not because manifestation isn't working. But because it's working perfectly. It's been showing you exactly what you believe. Exactly who you are being. And now that you see it, you can never unsee it. You can't go back to blaming luck, to thinking you're powerless, to believing things just happen randomly. Because now, you know the truth, you are the cause. Life is the effect. So the question is no longer, how do I change my life? The question is, who am I willing to become? Because the moment you become that version of you, the mirror has to reflect it back. And that's when everything changes. Forever. So now, I want to hear from you. What's the one belief you're ready to let go of? The one story you've been telling yourself for too long? Comment below and make it real. Because the moment you decide, the moment you claim your new reality, everything starts shifting. And if this resonated with you, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes, one realization is all it takes to change everything.